Did you know that by not contributing to your workplace pension, you could be missing out on thousands of pounds every year? Free money from your employer and the government? This video is going to show you exactly why your workplace pension is a total no-brainer. Whether you're on 30k, 50k or 100k, we'll talk about auto-enrolment, salary sacrifice, tax benefits and how your money can grow into a huge pension pot over time. Let's get into it. A workplace pension is a retirement savings plan your employer sets up for you. When you contribute, they usually do too, and that's what makes this so powerful. Under auto enrolment, if you're over 22 and earning more than £10,000, your employer should automatically add you to a pension scheme. But here's a catch, many employers delay this by up to 12 weeks. So don't wait, you can ask to opt in straight away. Also, many employers offer additional or enhanced pension schemes. You might be on the default one, but it's not always the best. Check your payslip and speak to HR. You may need to fill in a form to access better matching contributions. Thanks to auto enrolment, the total minimum contribution is 8% of qualifying earnings, with at least 3% from your employer. We're keeping this simple and looking at total salaries. So by keeping this simple, if you earn £30,000 a year on auto enrolment, this would equate to 5% from yourself and 3% from your employer. This would be a total yearly pension of £2,400. But some employers offer more. For instance, some match up to 5%. This would mean 5% from yourself and 5% from your employer, which would total £3,000 a year. Some employers even offer more. Let's, for instance, say 6% from yourself and 9% from your employer. Now, this would actually equate to £4,500 a year. So you can see how these differences make a big difference. Now, that extra contribution is essentially a pay rise you don't see on your payslip. When comparing job offers, consider this. The average employer contributes around 9%, but some go even higher. So this is something to consider when thinking about moving jobs. If you're on the auto enrolment scheme, you'll benefit from tax relief. That means for every £80 you pay in, the government adds £20, giving you a full £100 in your pension. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you could get back up to 40% or more, especially through self assessment. Now, keep in mind tax brackets differ between England, Scotland, and Wales, so always check what applies to you. Regardless of where you live, this is essentially free money from the government to help your future. Okay, now let's talk about salary sacrifice schemes. This is where things get really interesting. So, salary sacrifice schemes are where you agree to reduce your gross salary and your employer pays that amount straight into your pension. So, this reduces both your income tax and your national insurance. Now let me show you two examples taking salary sacrifice into account. Okay, so for our first example, we're taking someone that's on a £30,000 salary who is contributing 5% in their pension and receiving 5% from their employer. This would mean they would sacrifice £1,500 a year, and their employer would also give them £1,500 a year, for a total of £3,000 per year. Now, their take home pay would only actually drop by about £1,150, which means they're receiving £3,000 in their pension for £1,150. Now, for another example, let's take someone that's on a £100,000 salary contributing the same amount. So they would sacrifice 5%, which is £5,000, and their employer would also give them 5% for another £5,000 for a total of £10,000 a year. Now, because they're on even higher tax brackets, their take home pay only drops by about £3,000 to £3,500. This means they are getting £10,000 in their pension for around £3,000 to £3,500. Now, these are incredible returns for your money and shows the massive long-term gain for relative short-term pain. Now, another thing to mention is that for those that are on actually even more than £100,000, you can use salary sacrifice to reduce your adjusted income and help keep your personal allowance, which tapers off after £100,000. So, this is a really useful way to do that. But please note, not all employers offer salary sacrifice schemes. Please ask your HR team what's available, and remember, you often have to opt in. Okay, so you've put the money into your pension, but one of the biggest wins is that your pension grows completely tax free. So, no capital gains tax, no dividend tax, and no income tax on the growth. That means every pound you invest works harder. So, let's say you invest £300 a month for 30 years at 5% growth. That means you could end up with £250,000 and none of the growth is taxed while it's in the pension. Now, after listening to that, you're probably wanting to know what your own numbers look like. Now, if you're wondering how pension contributions or salary sacrifice will affect your pay, you can just Google Take Home Pay Calculator UK or Salary Sacrifice Calculator UK. It's a really good tool that I use a lot and it helps you estimate your net pay and how much pension will go into your pot. Okay, so something really important just to highlight during this video is actually the beneficiaries that are associated with your pension. So if something happens to you, your pension can usually be passed on to a loved one, often tax-free, but only if you've nominated someone. So please, with every pension, log in to your pension provider and update your nomination forms. This is crucial and only takes a few minutes. This is also something to highlight as many people believe your pension just goes to the company it's invested with. This is not true. The money in your pot goes to your loved ones. Okay, so let's look at some real life examples using a salary of £50,000. Now we're going to compare three people. We're going to have person A, B, and C. Now, person A, they don't believe in pensions. They are not going to contribute to a pension whatsoever. Now we've got person B, who's on a scheme where if they contribute 5%, they will receive 5% from their employer. And we've got person C, who is on a scheme where if they contribute 10%, they'll receive 10% from their employer. Now, if you look at the screen, you can see the different figures. So let's go through person A first. Now, they are contributing zero from their salary, they are receiving zero from their employer, which leads to a total of £0 for the year. Now, this leaves them a net pay of roughly £37,234. Now, take that with a pinch of salt because we don't know exactly where they live. So, they might be on the England tax brackets, they might be in the Scotland tax brackets. We don't also know what's coming off the rest of their pay, but we're going to take 37,234 as a rough estimate. Now, look at what their 25-year pension pot looks like. It is £0. So they have nothing in their pension whatsoever, but they do have a higher net pay. Now let's look at person B. Now they are contributing 5% and receiving 5%. This means they are contributing £2,500 to their pension and they're also receiving £2,500 from their employer. That totals £5,000 per year into their pension pot. But you can see their net pay has taken a hit. It is at £35,509. Now that is around about 17 to £1,800 less than person A, but they have received £5,000 extra into their pension. So they've contributed an extra 1,800 net, but they're receiving 5,000 per year, a really good return for their money. They also have a 25-year pot that looks something like £237,000, a really good nest egg after 25 years, which will give them some flexibility when it comes to that point. Okay, now let's look at person C, who's in the best position. Now, they are on a scheme where if they contribute 10%, they receive 10% from their employer. So that would equate to £5,000 from their self, £5,000 from their employer, which would equate to £10,000 per year. Now you can see their net pay is the lowest of them all, equating to around about £33,785. Now that is about £3,500 less than person A and around about 1,800 less than person B. But they have a 25-year pot of roughly £500,000 and actually they're only contributing about £3,500 net per year, but they gain £10,000 in their pension pot per year and a nest egg of around about £500,000 over that time. And that's what I mean when I say this is a no-brainer. Looking at your workplace pension scheme is a really smart way to build financial freedom. Okay, so just before we sum up, I just want to highlight that I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. And please, if you are looking to make investments, talk to a financial professional who can give you the relevant advice required. So to sum up, you get free money from your employer, you save tax now, your pension grows tax-free, and you can take 25% out tax-free when you retire. Now, this is how you build real long-term wealth. If this video helped you, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment if you've got a question or want me to cover a specific topic. Thanks for watching. I'm Doug Ibbo, and I'll see you in the next one.